In Indonesia, Tzu Chi provides supplies to thousands of families. The Commonwealth Magazine Awards highlights DaAi Technology, acknowledging Tzu Chi's efforts. Welcome to DaAi Headlines, I'm Hu Chiao. Thank you for tuning in. Tzu Chi's Indonesian chapter continues to implement relief programs in various communities, providing rice, cooking oil, sugar, and milk powder to help thousands of families overcome these difficult times.
63-year-old Sahiran has been a tailor for most of his life. He originally had a stable income. After being hit by the pandemic, he has recently encountered problems with food and clothing.
The epidemic really affected my livelihood. Sometimes, there's no business for a whole day. Even if there is some business, I only make about $1. I had no customers for 3 days in a row before. This is because I mainly fix clothing, and if I don't have any income, so I can only live day to day.
Grassroots people who do small business like him are struggling to live after the outbreak of COVID in Indonesia. Tzu Chi Indonesia continues to implement a relief plan.
These white rice came at the right time. Although the quantity is not a lot, it is enough for me. I'm able to eat for 10 days or half-month, so it has lightened my burden.
Tzu Chi not only takes care of residents that are in the capital, but also in North Sumatra's Tebing Tinggi. Volunteers also distributed daily necessities to disadvantaged families.
I'm very grateful to Tzu Chi for helping us in this way. The materials and gifts you provide can relieve our financial pressure.
Ban Ban, who has good shoe repair skills, originally had regular customers patronizing his stall, but after the pandemic, everyone's income was reduced, and he had to find other ways to earn money.
Recently, after finishing my shoe repair work, I will go out again to pull a tricycle. But now no one dares to go out, so business is not good. If there's no business, I'll stop work and go home at 8 or 9 in the evening.
The pandemic has affected the livelihoods of many residents, and Tzu Chi Indonesia branch continues to help and accompany everyone through these difficult times.
In early September, Tropical Storm Ida made landfall on the east coast of the United States, which brought much devastation to New York and New Jersey. In the aftermath of the disaster, the government received much help with resources to assist the survivors. Among them was Tzu Chi New Jersey chapter. Tzu Chi went to 2 cities to hand out aid supplies and cash cards for displaced residents and those recovering from Ida.
So that was the river. Flood zone is 10 feet.
It's been more than 3 weeks since Hurricane Ida made landfall on the east coast of the United States. But the streets of Bound Brook, New Jersey are still in ruins with debris everywhere and the air slightly smelling of mold.
My house, they went so damaged. All the house damaged. I can't live in the house.
My house was flooded to the first floor. Everything just gone.
So now where you stay now?
I've been staying in my car. My daughter's been going to friends' houses.
Hello, how are you?
With the invitation of the government, the Tzu Chi New Jersey chapter is handing out cash cards and blankets to Ida survivors.
Now I have to wait till somebody help me to fix the house again. Thank you for people like you guys to help us. Thank you so much.
The hurricane brought on flooding rapidly. Some of them don't own, but instead rent, and everything has been destroyed. They still need help.
For the third distribution, the volunteers arrived in Elizabeth City, New Jersey, where floodwaters reached as high as 16 feet. In the apartment complex of Oakwood Plaza, over 40% of the residents have been displaced.
I lost my home, I lost my car. They made us evacuate. We went to a shelter, and then we've been here ever since. I have to start all over and find a new place and just taking it day by day.
Volunteers empathize with the disaster survivors and comfort them as best as they can, passing on the well wishes of the global Tzu Chi people.
I can buy something for my daughter, food. That's very important for food right now. Whatever need for my daughter, her school, I can buy, that's all. And thank you so much. This foundation help us.
I pray for you, everybody. I am in a down situation, but I'm looking up for your help. I thank you so much. God bless you.
In Malaysia, Although the Tzu Chi entrepreneur team are nearly finished with the handoff of second-hand laptops to needy students in Penang schools, their job isn't over yet, as they will continue to offer support and assistance when the students have computer-related issues.
It is near the end of the Tzu Chi entrepreneur team's handoff of laptops to students from disadvantaged families. The last schools are Penang Chinese Girls High School, Union High School, and Forte High School.
We have the responsibility of following up with them and seeing if they encounter any problems. It's not in our interest to just hand off the computer and that's it. We want to make sure they are getting use out of the computer. We hope if they encounter problems and need help, we can help them as much as we can.
Thank you for helping the school, helping the students, so that more of our students can receive a good education.
We are not worried about the computers this time because there's a team available to us. If the computer is problematic, the teachers don't have to worry about how to fix it.
With the laptops from Tzu Chi, the students can use them and have a bigger screen, so when they do remote learning, they can see better and it's more comfortable for them. From the bottom of my heart, I thank Tzu Chi for the gesture.
Entrepreneurs do their best to shoulder some societal responsibility, helping disadvantaged students with their schoolwork during the pandemic.
Hualien is comprised of long and narrow terrain. When a patient suffers from myocardial infarction, it may have deadly consequences. A smart cloud emergency ambulance system was installed on ambulances of the Hualien County Fire Department, which can send a patient's ECG data to the hospital, gaining valuable treatment time. Some patients can even be sent directly to a hospital with cardiac catheterization room for treatment.
捐赠生理监视器，那感谢慈济亲会捐赠这3套多功能的生理监视电极器，精进我们的紧急救护装备，把握救人的黄金时间，守护乡亲的生命安全。大家热烈掌声，谢谢慈济亲会。
先生，请问怎么了？那到前救心招魂里面的一个很重要的指标呢，就是心电图。
The electrocardiogram is very important in pre-hospital cardiac care. Many patients with myocardial infarction, some 5 to 15 minutes before the occurrence of myocardial infarction, may have fatal arrhythmia. Regretfully, in the early years, many patients died before arriving at the hospital, and there is no chance of rescue because pre-hospital care was not done properly, making treatment almost meaningless. So pre-hospital care is very important.
好的，先生，我们现在帮你做心电图哈。好。 好，先生，我们现在回传你的心电图报告，然后请医生判读心电图的问题。
因为拜科技之师。
Thanks to technology, our internet connection is very developed and ambulances can arrive on the scene. And the patient's heart condition can be measured by electrocardiogram. It can then be transmitted directly to the emergency room of the hospital via the internet, where it is interpreted by the doctor. If the patient is judged to be a case of myocardial infarction, the doctor can immediately tell us how to deal with it. Hualien County Fire Department currently has 37 ambulances and 23 fire brigades, all of which are equipped with 12-lead physiologic monitor. Once a suspected heart disease patient appears, the ambulance attendant can do a check on the spot. Once the ECG is judged to be an acute myocardial infarction, the ambulance will send the patient to a hospital with cardiac catheterization clinic for treatment.
所以这等于是在救护车上就启动了导管室的人员被待命，所以这个是。
This is equivalent to putting the catheterization lab personnel on standby in the ambulance. So when the patients arrive at our emergency room, doctors and catheter staff also arrive at the same time. We have been educating and training them for the past 2 years. The ambulance attendants in fire departments in Hualien County are extremely hardworking. I remember they took the exam this year, and they have to take a license. So they actually completed the course, which is very difficult. They have already trained in this and have achieved very good results. So if there are these symptoms, they'll help people to do an electrocardiogram.
Our colleagues are currently operating a 12-lead electrocardiogram. We can help patients with chest tightness and chest pain. We can help the elderly or those who faint feel pain, or have wheezing, unconsciousness, and chest pain. The 12-lead ECG is then immediately sent back to the hospital to ask the doctor to do the interpretation.
因为他们会有判读的压力，他们常常被民众
Because they'll be under time pressure to do a diagnosis, and they are often questioned by the public, why shouldn't they go to the hospital as soon as possible? Why do you want to do this electrocardiogram? You are not a doctor and you don't know how to read it. Then why are you wasting this time? When we were promoting this program, they said that they would be scolded by the public about it. I said that we can upload the ECG to the cloud as soon as the ECG is done, and we can find a doctor to help you interpret the ECG 24 hours a day. This is what we told the public. We said this electrocardiogram will go to the doctor so you receive treatment faster.
If your chest feels stuffy, out of breath, or break out in cold sweats, please call 119 as soon as possible instead of driving yourself to the hospital.
The Commonwealth magazine awards companies keeping corporate social responsibility. This year, in 2021, DaAi Technology, with their focus on sustainability and protecting the environment, has won high marks in the sustainability category. Let's take a look.
The Commonwealth magazine's excellence in corporate social responsibility continues for the 15th year. This year, they continue with honoring companies which have done well in doing their part to sustain the earth.
This year, I've felt that the zero-emission goal has been on the minds of all companies, no matter their field or size. ESG is really something that all companies are following, and sustainability is their common goal.
那我们外商企业的新秀奖得主是台湾
Not just providing a suitable vaccine during the pandemic, AstraZeneca has actually been a part of Taiwan for the last 70 years, doing their part in pharmaceuticals to eradicate diseases.
In Taiwan, in terms of sustainability, we have three main goals. One is to promote innovative medicine. The second is to do sustainable operation. The third is to be a good partner in pandemic prevention.
好巨人组的第2名 得奖的人是DaAi感恩科技。
Recycling plastic bottles to promote sustainability, research and development of recycled plastic wood, and thoroughly implementing a circular economy. DaAi Technology has been in operation for over 12 years and won hundreds of awards for their efforts.
As a social corporation, DaAi Technology has always had the motto of coexist with the earth. We also follow sustainability by turning what people may consider to be trash and turn it into treasure. These are all focuses of our company.
We hope to continue promoting our cause to the world so that more people can see the importance of environmental protection.
Corporate social responsibility through the honorable mentions of the magazine is expected to sync up with the world's footsteps. This way, corporations are not only tools to make profit, but key leaders of society for sustainable development.
In Taichung, at the ACH PCO this year, a total of 173 religious organizations received awards. Tzu Chi has been receiving continuous awards for 14 years straight. The Ministry of the Interior thanks religious groups for cooperating in the efforts to comply with COVID prevention policies and donating medical supplies. Donating laptops to students for them to access online learning. Donating COVID-19 vaccines and medical supplies in order to support vaccination stations. Accompanying people in Taiwan through the pandemic, Tzu Chi has been awarded for bringing warmth and love to people in need. At the 2021 ACH PCO held in Taichung City, a total of 173 religious organizations receive awards. Whenever there's a need for help in Taiwan, normally religious groups will join firsthand, and others will join in to contribute their efforts to support a cause. Tzu Chi has been recognized by the MOI for 14 years. Representing the organization are Jing Sebo Dharma Masters, including Dharma Master De Ru and Dharma Master De Yue.
I'm grateful to Master Zheng Yan's teachings and our Tzu Chi brothers and sisters. They have contributed and helped all suffering sentient beings living in different communities.
During the pandemic, many religious organizations contributed material goods and provided mental stability to people in need. In Kaohsiung, Ling Shihen, a 44-year-old teacher at Taiping Elementary School, suffered from a rare adult-type muscular dystrophy. He became increasingly inconvenient when he became ill at the age of 29. He once complained about his life, but the students made him smile. He used his knowledge of science and technology to bring different perspectives to children. The Sunny warrior, who overcomes physical obstacles, said that as long as he can move, he'll devote every minute to education. I have been teaching for 20 years, since I graduated. In 2006, I was diagnosed with a condition of sarcopenia. That is, the enzymes in my muscles are extremely high. We are the first family in Taiwan with a genetic defect. It is an adult-type muscular dystrophy. The limb-girdle type means that the limbs will gradually atrophy, which may affect the heart and lungs. The moment when we are unable to act is the moment when we panic the most. After it happened, of course, I felt very depressed, and I would complain about myself and complain about why it was me. But working in school, especially seeing the smile and innocence of children, makes me forget about the physical inconvenience and pain. The students found that the teacher changed from holding crutches to a wheelchair. They will help me, and they'll also ask me if I need help. Children's initiative, tolerance, and empathy, these are actually not taught. They are innate. If you are not sure, you can combine it and see if the effect is good. It doesn't have to be this way. You can make some decorative elements on it. The quadrant position is difficult to set. Sometimes it takes a long time to adjust to that position. It won't be printed like this. Only half of it is printed. If I do something wrong, the teacher will remind us what to do.
像这个有关节，对不对？这个不是会旋转吗？那为什么它可以撑得起？有 3D 列印机可以悬空，它的支架就是那些粉末。
The children kept asking questions. We will help them solve it. The sense of accomplishment in solving problems is what brings me the greatest enthusiasm.
Today is my very special day. It is our annual teacher honorary activity in Taiping Elementary School. Next, we will proceed the project of Guess Who I Am. He looks like a good student with excellent academic performance. Who is it? Who is so familiar, nothing can trouble him? Let's see if the answer is right. Bingo! Teacher Si Heng was on the scene. Congratulations to him. He won the honor of the teacher award. This is really amazing and Superman honor for us as teachers.
Teacher Shihen has been injured on duty, but he still wouldn't lay hands on others in his work. Although he has a mobility issue, he never complains his work. He is the so-called Sun Warrior. Even though Mr. Shihen is in a wheelchair like this now, he still has the spirit to overcome difficulties.
Teacher Shihen, wish you a happy Teacher's Day. I also wish you a safe, healthy, and happy life.
We cannot determine the length of life, but in fact, we can create the width of life. I hope that within this width, I will follow the children and all the people who help me move forward. When we purchase fruits, do we ask about the sweetness of the fruits? How do we describe the sweetness in fruits? In a science perspective, we can actually measure sweetness through devices. Let us take a look at the know-how. If we lay out guava, passion fruit, pineapple, and grapes, can you tell which fruit is sweeter?
Sweetness comes from our taste buds. It also comes from our sense of taste, which evaluates edible items. So we feel like this has more sugar, but actually the factors that determine sweetness are heavily impacted by carbohydrates and density. Even temperature can be a determining factor. Acidity is also a factor that affects our sense of taste.
The taste of sweetness is very subjective, as everyone feels different. If so, how do people measure fruit sweetness? Using a scientific approach, sugar content can be measured using degree bricks, a unit to measure sweetness. This means that under 20 degrees Celsius, the amount of sucrose produced in 100 grams of water.
Normally speaking, this is a handheld bricks meter, and it requires someone to look into it. So during measuring, it is recommended to be in a place exposed to light sources, and then to face the light source. Nowadays, there are improved electronic bricks meters. It displays numbers while measuring fruits, and it can tell if a fruit has reached harvesting standards. In laboratories, researchers use HPLC, a device that can directly detect sugar content in solutions. It can also detect the carbohydrate content.
Who does the work of measuring fruit sugar content? Farmers do. Farmers bring a bricks meter with them to see if their fruits can be harvested. Once the refraction prism is facing towards a light source, one has to manually adjust the lens and then adjust with pure water. Afterwards, one may measure the fruit's sugar content.
We detect polarization and deflection values after sugar dissolves in water. That is, after light comes into contact with sugar solutions, there will be a difference in polarization between water and sugar water. We then calculate the differences and produce a bricks number.
Using the different angles of refraction, researchers can measure the change in refractive index of different matter's density. The numbers can then be translated into a liquid's actual density. If more sugar dissolves in the water, the higher the sugar density and the greater the refraction angle. Besides having sugar, fruits also contain acidic and bitter contents. Sometimes, the sweetness we taste isn't the sweetness we think it is. If one wants to lose weight due to health reasons, they might be tricked by their taste buds, over-consuming unrealized sugar.
What affects sugar content is mainly the acidity. We call this acid-sugar ratio, a ratio of sugar content and acidity. Normally speaking, acid-sugar ratio is used to determine the fruit's quality.
Bananas are more than 14 degrees Brix, while apples, oranges, and lychee are about 9 to 13 degrees Brix. Pineapples and grapes go from 8 to 10 degrees Brix. Watermelons and strawberries are about 4 to 7 degrees Brix. It's quite surprising to see watermelons on the low end. Does this blow your mind?
If we order a milk tea with low sugar, once you drink it, it doesn't feel like it's sweet. But actually, this is because our taste buds, the milk tea itself is about 5, 6, or 7 degrees Brix, less than the fruits mentioned previously. The sugar amount inside the milk tea is, however, 2 to 3 times more than fruits. Imagine a cup of bubble tea. It contains about 50 grams of sugar alone.
The HPA suggests that consuming 5 fruits and vegetables a day is ideal, split into 3 vegetables and 2 fruits. 1 fruit serving should also be the size of a fist. Actually, sweetness in fruits will never surpass sugar content in sugar-related products unless one overconsumes. A balanced diet is crucial to keeping yourself healthy. In New Taipei City's Taisan district, a fire hazard broke out at the 4th floor of an apartment. 5 residents were stuck in the building. After rescuing them, 3 people displayed out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, and 2 people had minor injuries as they were sent to hospitals for treatment. The unfortunate incident has made nearby residents sympathize with the 5 affected residents. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.